Welcome to another 2024 presidential election update for you guys. The last one was done in January. Now, I never made an official prediction yet, but in this video I will, so stay tuned for that, okay? So what has happened since January? Since January, we saw the end of the primaries. Nikki Haley, Dean Phillips, Marianne Williamson, they all dropped out of the race. Now it's just Trump, Biden, and RFK. We saw Trump finally be convicted for as the first former president ever to be a criminal. He's a convicted felon. Now, in the last video, one of the takeaways was that the Electoral College has changed its power since 2020. A lot of people have moved south, and every time people move south, this favors Republicans more. The more people who move to red states, it just gives the red states more power, electoral power. Also, what's happening right now are the elections in Europe, which is also seeing a shift to the right. Now, in 2016, if you remember, Brexit happened right before the elections. In June of 2016, there was Brexit. This is a big shift to the right for the UK. So could the shift in Europe be an indicator of what's going to happen in the US? Well, we'll see. Let's take a look at that here in this video. Now, as of right now, 538, their polling shows that Biden is winning at 52 and Trump 47. Now, we know the polls are very, very close, almost every poll. It's very hard to tell based on the current polling right now. It's very difficult to tell. But all we know right now is that the race is very, very close. Now, one of the main things about today's video is going to be the independents. I think that when we get increasingly towards the election, we're going to find that the independents are going to be a bigger and bigger factor. Interestingly, right now, after Trump's guilty verdict, we see that 49% of independents think that Trump should drop out. This is huge, guys. This is huge, right? It shows that independents really don't like Trump. They really don't. Now, to be fair, most people don't like any of the candidates. RFK's favorability is only about 35%. Trump and Biden are actually very similar numbers. So nobody likes any of the candidates this race, right? Unfortunately, we're stuck with those three guys. Now, the reason why I say that the independents are going to be huge this election is because if we take a look at who these voters are, right? Who these Kennedy voters are, it turns out that more Trump voters who voted for Trump in 2020 and 2016 are now voting for Kennedy than Biden. So we might see RFK polling away a little bit more votes from Trump than Biden. And I suspect that's going to continue as RFK becomes more popular. And now combine that with the fact that Biden has retained more voters than Trump. More people are loyal to Biden than they are Trump. This election's like a tug of war right now at this point, right? We have pros and cons from both sides tugging at each other. But I still think in this election, which has been the same as last election, people are just going to vote for the better of the two evils. That's what it's going to come down to, in my view. I think that people's mentalities haven't really changed. The vast majority of people who voted for Biden are going to vote for Biden again. And the same is going to be said for Trump, but a little bit less people are going to be voting for Trump than last election. However, that doesn't mean that Trump's not going to win, right? Remember, there's a lot of other factors at play here. Now, how about Trump's guilty verdict? Did that help him or did it hurt him? So, according to the numbers, it does seem like it did hurt him a tad. When I say tad, I mean a very tiny tad. Although we had like a big wave, if you guys remember, we had a big wave of people saying, well, I'm definitely going to vote for Trump now, right? Most of the people turned out to be already voting for Trump. They were just doing that to make it seem like Trump was so great. Really, the guilty verdict is negligible in terms of sheer numbers of voters. Most people aren't concerned about it, especially Trump voters. They're not concerned about it. Now, it's the case that some people are not going to vote for Trump because of it, but the same could be said for the other side. A little bit more people are going to vote for him because of the guilty verdict. So it's another tug of war thing there. It's very difficult. I mean, these numbers are so super close. It's so difficult to really tell right now who's going to win. However, I will say that because of Trump's guilty verdict, I mean, although this might not hurt Trump right now that much, during the debates, though, in October with Biden and Trump or whoever versus Trump, Biden could just use this as a way to, affect Trump, right? He can just say, well, dude, you're a criminal, right? Imagine being on a debate stage without the entire country watching, and you harp on that point, right? All Biden has to do is literally just say, dude, you're a criminal. Biden has this card. He can just play during the debate and make Trump look like a fool. Now you might be saying, well, people are not going to be affected by this. Well, people vote emotionally many times. When all the eyes are on the debate stage and everybody's listening closely and Biden calls him a criminal and it's true and Trump can't do anything about it, that's going to hurt Trump, right? Whether you like it or not. Now, how much, the extent to which it's going to hurt him, that's, up to you guys. But I think it's going to hurt him in the debates specifically more than anything. So now, how about the Israel-Palestine conflict? Well, what we see now is a ceasefire deal happening, and so people used to not like Biden for this whole Hamas thing, but now people are lightening up to Biden as he is kind of putting pressure on Netanyahu, at least move into a better direction. Again, this did hurt Biden at first, but I think things are shifting back for the better. Again, another tug of war. Now, Trump, in terms of his other trials, those are paused. The Georgia one's paused. The other ones are paused. So he won't be affected by any of their trials before the election. Now, Trump could appeal this, his current conviction there, but that's not going to happen. It's going to take months and months to resolve. That won't happen after election either. So Trump is basically going to be good to go for the next 5 months until the election without any, major convictions happening. Now, could other things happen? Could other things pop up? Yes, we still got 5 months before the election, folks. Remember this. We've still got 5 months to go. So anything could happen within 5 months, right? So I have to keep that in mind. But there are also, in the next 5 months, going to be a huge amount of rulings in the Supreme Court coming up about abortion rights, gun law rights, and this might fuel voters, right? After the Roe v. Wade thing, a lot of Democrats are obviously more fueled up and powered up to vote for Biden, right? Because they want to protect their abortion rights. So anything with abortion or contraception, right? Just recently, a few days ago, Congress voted against or tried to block the Right to Contraception Act. And that's good. Democrats are doing a good job. They're putting pressure on the Republicans, making them look terrible, because they know that Americans love contraception. We love, having the right to our bodies. So of course they're going to harp on that, and that's good for them. So that's a win-win for us, right? Remember how the abortion ruling happens? It's a win-win for us. Now, in terms of key states this year, nothing has changed in terms of key states. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan are still key states for Biden to win. He won them all last time, and I think he's going to win them this time as well. Now, at first, a few months ago, it was looking like he wasn't going to win them. He was off by a couple points in some of these states. But I think things are shifting slowly but surely, shifting more towards Biden, I think. And it's super close to say this, but it's going to be closer than 2020, I think. The election is going to be closer than even 2020, which was a super close election in terms of electoral votes, in terms of popular votes. But I think we're going to see red states become redder and blue states, however, become bluer. So I think Biden's going to even have an easier time in these states, like especially Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania. I think he's going to have an easier time this time around. However, in terms of my prediction for the election, I think that Trump's going to pick up Arizona. I really do. I think Trump's going to pick up Arizona. Like I said before, a lot of people from the north are moving south, especially since the COVID pandemic. So a lot of people have moved south, and that just helps Republicans. So I think Arizona is going to become more Republican. They're going to have more electoral power, as they do this time around. I think it's going to go to Trump. So my final prediction for this 2024 presidential election is Biden taking it at 292 versus Trump's 242, where Trump picks up Arizona. Now, if you guys don't know, Alan Lichtman, he's some kind of guy that predicts elections. Out of the last 10 elections, he accurately predicted 9 of them. So he says that Biden's going to win this time too. So, hey man, that's my prediction. Now, the things that will solidify this or change this is RFK. RFK is going to be, I think, increasingly more a much more bigger factor going forward. If RFK grows, I mean, right now he's only at 8%, popularity. He's not very popular overall, but he knows how to utilize social media and he knows how to talk to young people. And that's also what's going to be a major factor this time around. Young voters are being pushed to RFK. And that, I think, is the biggest factor this election. It's going to be young voters, literally first-time voters, right? Gen Z. They're going to come out, and I think they're going to vote for RFK more. And that's only going to help Biden, right? Because RFK is not going to win. We all know he's not going to win. But the numbers show that it's going to help Biden. So I think that's what's going to happen, guys. I think that Biden's going to win. Now, again, it's going to be so close. It's going to be super close. But I think Biden will win. Now, to be honest with you, the last few months, I thought Trump was going to win. But something seems to be shifting. I think as we get closer to November, I think that it will be more clear that these things are happening. The things I'm talking about are going to be happening. But again, we still got 5 months to go. Anything could happen between now and then. So I'll keep you updated more and more frequently as time goes on. But I hope you guys enjoy the video and see you next time.